Hey guys, what is going on? Today we've got something very special for you here. We are going to be taking a look at my top 10 best guns in Vanguard right now. These are going to be some of the most overpowered class setups that we can make in the game at the moment. There are some fantastic weapons in Vanguard right now. And the more I check out some of these different weapons, the more I learn that once you do unlock some of these later attachments, these weapons are completely different. So, the top 10 best class setups that we do have in Vanguard right now. But just before we do get into the top 10 most overpowered class setups in Vanguard right now, make sure you do hit that subscribe button with those notifications turned on. We are looking for 6,000 subscribers hopefully very soon. And if you could help me achieve that goal, that would be absolutely massive. I love all the support from you guys. So let's talk about our top 10 most overpowered class setups in Vanguard right now. So starting us off here on this list is a very popular weapon in this game, and I'm sure you've been killed by it a lot on something like Dust House and of course Shipping, and that is the combat shotgun. Being able to just delete people from the game at about 25 meters or so is really strong in this game. Starting off with the attachments on the combat shotgun here, we do have that M97 full choke for a tighter pellet spread. This increases our ability to kill people at those sort of medium distances, as when we do fire, the pellets will be as close together as possible. In the barrel slot, we do have the sword off option here for giving us a wider pellet spread, movement speed, as well as increasing our damage, but there is also an argument to be made for the Framble number 3 for hipfire accuracy, recoil recovery, and hipfire recoil recovery. In the stock, we do have the CGC3M adjustable for hipfire accuracy increase of +2, aim walking movement speed, aim down sight speed, and sprint to fire speed increases. We really only use two of those stats, being hipfire accuracy and sprint to fire speed. Then in the underbarrel slot, we do have the SMLE pistol grip here for the sprint to fire speed and hipfire accuracy increases, allowing us to sprint around the map and get nice hipfire kills. In the magazine slot, we do have the 16 gauge 10 round drum to give us the most amount of shells to fire here. Then we do have the ammo type, which we mentioned, the buck and slug, giving us a shotgun slug when we do fire this thing, as well as giving us a number of pellets as well. This is very strong too. Then the rear grip, we do have the pine tar grip for a +2 to our recoil control and a +1 to our hipfire accuracy. Hipfire accuracy, again, really the only one we are using here. There is another sort of argument to be made for something like a fabric grip for sprint to fire speed and hipfire recoil recovery. Then we round this off with the proficiency and of course the kit, with momentum here giving us movement speed when we do get kills. Frenzy is also a good option, as well as sleight of hand to get more shots in this thing. And then in the kit, as we mentioned, we do have quick here for increasing our sprint speed, but you can take fully loaded as well if you do want more shells with this thing. The rest of our class setup is going to be pretty similar across the board. You can take whichever secondary you do prefer. Most of the time with the shotguns, we do like running overkill and having a riot shield, which is pretty toxic. Our perks are Ghost, Forward Intel, and Scavenger, or Overkill as we mentioned as well. We got the Gammon Bomb and we have the Stim Shot. Moving on, we do have the 2-shot broken MP40 build. I'm sure this is going to get nerfed in the very near future. I'm expecting this to get changed, I would guess, in the Season 1 patch, which is about a week away now. This is going to be a very good weapon up until then, I believe. Being able to get that 2-shot kill with this thing when you do have hollow point equipped is ridiculously powerful here. Again, starting us off here, we do have the M1929 silencer for that sound suppression, meaning we do not appear on the radar when we are firing this thing, as well as giving us an increase to our accuracy, which does help us with our horizontal recoil control, as well as that weapon balloon that we get from this thing. In the barrel slot, we do have the Krausnik 317 MM04B, which does make our weapon highly accurate and controllable. What this means is we get a 40% increase to our horizontal recoil control, meaning this thing is ridiculously accurate. There's basically no sort of sway off the vertical. In the optic slot, we do have that slate reflector, but I actually do prefer something like a NIDAR Model 47 or even a MK3 reflector for this particular weapon. Or you can also go with something like the Krausnik ISO 2M for giving us more aim down sight speed and a very clear iron sight here. In the stock slot, we do actually have the VDD34M for an increase to our horizontal recoil control, another boost of 10%. Plus we do get that aim down sight speed increase as well, which is very nice here. Then we have the M1941 hand stop, giving us recoil control and accuracy, continuing our theme of giving us a very accurate MP40 build here. Then we take the 8mm Kurz 32 round mag, just because this does increase our damage number to a point when we do throw on hollow point, which we're about to talk about in a second. We do get that 2-shot kill when we do hit those limb shots. This also gives us that damage range and bullet penetration as well. As I mentioned, the ammo type, we're going for hollow point to give us that extra limb damage, meaning we can get that 2-shot kill if we hit arms and legs. And then the rear grip, we do have the fabric grip for aim down sight speed, sprint to fire speed, and hip fire recoil recovery. In the proficiency, we're actually taking something a bit spooky here in unmarked. This does give us that dead silence effect when we do get a kill, which is very strong. We can sprint around everywhere, and this sort of does chain up as well. And then in the kit, we do take fully loaded here, but there is again an argument to be made for quick, giving us extra sprint speed, so this is another choice that you can choose between. Moving on here, we do have a ridiculously accurate weapon in this game that did cop a little bit of a nerf. It does still have a relatively fast TTK in this game, which stands for time to kill if you were not 100% sure. Off the top of my head, I can't really remember the exact number in terms of that TTK value, but I believe it is just less than 200 milliseconds, I think, with the right combination of attachments. Doesn't get that two-shot kill anymore, as they did just to change the interaction between the magazine and the vital perk, which is actually pretty significant here. However, the attachments do start off again with that M1929 silencer for that accuracy increase as well as that sound suppression. You know what we talk about with accuracy, that is the horizontal recoil control. In the optic slot, you can take your MK3 reflector, you can take your slate reflector as well. I do prefer the slate reflector on this thing. In the stock, we go with the Sri Varaishi T100, which does give us a +3 to our horizontal recoil control, as well as another one to our aim down sight speed. In the underbarrel, again, we go for that M1941 hand stock, giving us that recoil control and that accuracy as well. Then in the magazine, we do have the Russian short 30 round mag, increasing our bullet velocity, our range, our bullet penetration, and giving us a +2 to our damage. This does give us 40 damage per bullet at 689 RPM, which is, I believe, about 174, I think, off the top of my head. But feel free to correct me in the comments if that number is wrong. Then in the ammo slot, we do have lengthened here to give us that increase to our bullet velocity. This is really nice for our hit detection at a 30% increase. Then in the rear grip slot, we do have the fabric grip here for an aim down sight speed increase, sprint to fire speed increase, and recoil recovery on the hip fire. Then the proficiency, again, we can take unmarked here for those silent footsteps when we do get those kills. Again, sleight of hand is also a good option, but I would not recommend running vital and the magazine ammo capacity. I don't think that does anything anymore. And then in the kit, we do take that fully loaded to give us more starting ammo here. Then we move on to the STG. You already know this thing is still very, very good. I don't think you can get the same interaction that you can get with the magazine and, of course, the vital perk. Again, I think they did remove that interaction. But again, we do start off with that MX silencer here for the sound suppression and the accuracy. Again, very important stats to get us those bullets on target. The barrel, we do have that VDD 760 MM05B. Again, we do have that damage range increase as well as the highly accurate and controllable weapon, which does mean we get 40% increase to our horizontal recoil control. Then to combo this, we do have the slate reflector to hit as many bullets as possible. This is one of the cleanest sights you can get in the game. In the stock slot, we do have the VDD27 precision for the horizontal recoil control as well as that aim down sight speed increase. But there is also an option to be said for the Constaz tactical grip for, of course, the aim walking movement speed and aim walking steadiness with this thing. Then we do have the M3 ready grip here for aim down sight speed increases and sprint to fire speed and aim walking movement speed here, getting us on target as well as getting those sights up. Very, very important for movement speed with this gun. Then the magazine attachment that we mentioned earlier increases our damage number to a lovely 41 damage per bullet. Again, you get a relatively fast TTK value with this thing. It's not as fast as it used to be when you could get those two-shot kills, but it's still a very strong and accurate weapon in this game. Do take the lengthened ammo just for another increase to our bullet velocity, giving us 1380 meters per second worth of bullet velocity, which is absolutely fantastic for our hit detection. And then we do have the rear grip. We got that polymer grip for a +2 to our flinch resistance, meaning we do not take much flinch when we do get hit by bullets. Then in the proficiency, we do have more flinch resistance from focus here, keeping us on target when we do take some shots. And then we round this off with the kit here, which is the fully loaded option, giving us the maximum starting ammo here. Then we do have one of my absolute favorite weapons in the game here, which is the Automaton. This thing is an absolute laser beam, kills ridiculously fast here. Again, I think this is another one of those weapons that does hit 170-ish milliseconds worth of TTK when you do have the right attachments on board. So again, we start off with that MX silencer. This is one of my absolute favorite attachments, as you probably could tell already. Sound suppression and accuracy keeping us on target here. Then the Zac FA short barrel does actually increase our damage. This does reduce our recoil control and accuracy though, but that's not too big of a deal, as we do kill people with this ridiculously fast here, as well as it actually doesn't make it that inaccurate here. Moving on here, we do have that slate reflector again for a very nice clear side picture here. In the stock slot, we do have the Zac skeletal again for that aim walking movement speed, getting us around the map more quickly when we are, of course, moving around and down sight. Then the M1941 hand stop again for recoil control and accuracy with this thing, keeping those shots on target. Speaking of that magazine, we do have the 8mm Class rifle 50 round mag here for bullet velocity, maximum magazine ammo capacity, +1 to our damage and +1 to our bullet velocity. That, of course, does give us a 39 damage per bullet at 759 RPM, which again, I believe hits about 174 to 180 milliseconds worth of TTK. Ammo type, again, you do want that lengthened for increasing that bullet velocity by a massive 30%. The rear grip, again, we are going for that polymer grip for, again, +2 to our flinch resistance. When we do take some damage in a gunfight, our guns are going to still be very, very accurate here with the polymer grip. Then in the proficiency slot, we are taking a little bit of a spicy option in Frenzy, getting that health regeneration when we do get a kill here. But there is a nice option to be said for tight grip as well as sleight of hand here, so just keep this in mind. And then we finish this off with the kit. Of course, we want fully loaded here for maximum starting ammo with this thing. We do have another weapon here in the shotgun class that is absolutely disgusting, and that is the Gracey Auto here. You basically just spam shots with this thing and you get an enormous amount of kills, especially on something like Dust House. Again, the attachments do start off with that M97 full choke for that tighter pellet spread. We do move on to the Chariot 33-inch sport barrel for a highly accurate and controllable gun, as well as increasing our damage range here, which is probably the most important stat with most shotguns. Again, the M38 Slate 2.5 times custom scope, again, is not super relevant for something like this, but it is a nice goofy option to run around with. Then we do have the Ragdoll PY for the sprinter fire speed and movement speed stat increases. In the underbarrel slot, we do have the SMLE pistol grip here for sprinter fire speed and hip fire accuracy. This is a really nice attachment for every single shotgun. Then in the magazine slot, we do have the 12 gauge 10 round drum here for the most amount of shells to fire with this thing. Then we do have the ammo type. Again, we want that buck and slug to do the most amount of damage here and get that nice slug on target. You are chunking people and doing lots of damage. In the rear grip, we do have the fabric grip for aim down side speed, sprinter fire speed, and hip fire recoil recovery. Then the proficiency, this is probably the most important attachment with this thing, is Gung Ho. You can fire this thing while sprinting, which is just so hilarious, man. You just sprint around everywhere and you just click the shotgun and it just kills people. It's so good. And then the kit, we do have quick, so we sprint around the map more quickly. Next, we do have the G43 here, and this is a little bit of an under the radar pick because you can get a ridiculously fast TTK with this thing. It's just that it's a single shot marksman rifle, so it is a little slept on because it's not one of those automatic rifles. But if you've not tried out the G43 here, man, make sure you level this thing up because it is an absolute demon in this game. Again, attachments here, MX silencer for the, of course, sound suppression and that accuracy. You already know what this does. We've talked about it a number of times here. In the barrel slot, we do have the ZP770mm precision because that does make our weapon highly accurate and controllable. Also gives us a nice amount of flinch resistance here, which is a very important stat on most weapons. In the optic slot, of course, we do want to run that slate reflector because we are using this at a little bit of a close range weapon because we do have a very fast trigger finger here. Then the Wyvern skeletal does mean we can aim down sight pretty much all the time and just move around the map very quickly with this because this increases our aim walking movement speed. Then the underbarrel, we do have the M1930 strife angle grip for a +2 to our accuracy, which does keep us on target here, minimizing our horizontal recoil here. Then in the magazine slot, this is probably one of the most important attachments that you can run on this thing. The 30-06 10 round mag does make this thing a ridiculously fast killing weapon. This gives us that 2-shot kill at 400 RPM. You do delete people, which is so fun here. The only sort of letdown here is that it is a 10 round mag, so you do have to reload quite often. In the ammo type, we also have that lengthened one for increasing our bullet velocity here, giving us fantastic hit detection with that bullet velocity. In the rear grip slot, again, we do have polymer grip here for flinch resistance, meaning we can hit as many shots as possible here. Then the proficiency, we do have the tight grip. When we are spamming this thing, this gives us a nice amount of accuracy and recoil. Then we do have the kit. We got that fully loaded for giving us the most amount of starting ammo here. Moving on here, we do have sort of an underrated slept on pick. Again, this is the NZ41, which does actually allow you to get a 2-shot kill. If you land a headshot with this thing and then a body shot follow-up, you are getting a 2-shot kill, which is a really fast TTK here. Again, you have probably heard most of these attachments here. Again, that MX silencer does give us that sound suppression and that accuracy. Orb Weaver 360mm BC does make our weapon highly accurate and controllable here. This does increase our horizontal recoil control by 40%, which is a massive boost here. Then the slate reflector as well for a nice clear sight picture. Then we do have the LOR reinforced for a +2 to our initial accuracy and recoil, aim down sight speed, and that recoil recovery is very nice here too. Then the M1930 strife angle grip for that +2 to our accuracy does mean we hit the target as often as possible with this thing. Then we do have nothing in the magazine slot because all the magazines do make us less effective at killing people. Then the ammo type, we do have lengthen to increase our bullet velocity. Then the polymer grip, again for that flinch resistance, meaning we can hit as many bullets as possible with this thing when we do take some damage in gunfights. Then we have the pin proficiency, which is a little interesting here for increasing that flinch that we do when we hit people, which if you've been hit by this, you know what this feels like, and it is ridiculously hard to hit shots. And then of course the kit we have fully loaded here for giving us the most amount of starting ammo. Moving on here, we do have the M1928, which again is one of the more powerful SMGs in the game at the moment. Again, getting that TTK value up, pushing sub 200 milliseconds is very nice here. Again, I believe it sort of sits at around 180 with the right attachments. So again, we do have that M1929 silencer. We've had this literally on every single weapon that we have on this list. Again, that accuracy and that sound suppression is very important for us. Then we do have the CGC 12-inch cooling barrel frame, making our weapon highly accurate and controllable. It is already, but when you do take a look at the stats on this thing, this gives us 2.3 degrees of horizontal recoil control, which is basically just up in a straight line. Then we do have the slate reflector here for giving us that nice clear sight picture. The CGC wire grip here does make us move around the map very quickly when we are aimed down sight with this thing, and makes us a little bit more accurate when we do fire this thing. Then the underbarrel, we have the M1941 hand stop, again for making us more accurate here. Then the magazine, this allows us to kill more quickly here, increasing our damage number to 34 damage per bullet, which allows us to get that 3-shot kill at 679 RPM. Very fast TTK here. Then in the ammo type, we're actually going for lengthened here, again to increase that bullet velocity here. Then the fabric grip here for aim down sight speed increases, as well as sprint to fire speed, as well as hip fire recoil recovery. Then in the proficiency, we do have the health regeneration from frenzy. Again, when we are getting lots of kills here, we want as much health as possible. And then we do round this off with the kit, which is fully loaded, giving us the most amount of starting ammo here. And then we round off this list with something a little interesting here, and that is the MG42. If you've used this thing and you've leveled it up decently, you know this thing becomes a very fast killing tool, man, with not much recoil, decent fire rate here. I think it's over 1,000, which is ridiculously fast for this game. So we do actually have a different option here in the Mercury Silencer. This does give us sound suppression and recoil control, but it doesn't reduce our aim down sight speed like the MX Silencer does, so we avoid that one here. Then we've got the VD-D680mm 31M barrel, of course, for the highly accurate and controllable gun. This does increase our horizontal recoil control by 25%. Then in the optic slot, we've got something a little different again for a G16 2.5 times scope for the accuracy and recoil control that we get from this thing, meaning we can hit as many targets as possible with this, and we get a little bit of extra zoom from our sight. Then we do have the VDD skeletal stock for the aim walking movement speed. When you do have those sights up with this thing, you move around the map quite quickly. Then the M1941 hand stop here again for the recoil control and accuracy. But again, there is also a nice little argument to be made for this particular one here, increasing our aim down sight speed, nice little boost. Then in the magazine slot, we do have the 33mm anti-material 125 round drum here. This increases our bullet velocity, our range, our bullet penetration, and our damage. This does allow us to get a 4-shot kill at 1016 RPM. Is a very fast killing weapon in this game as well. I think this clocks in at about 170-ish milliseconds, which is again very, very fast. Then the rear grip, we do have the fabric grip for the aim down sight speed and sprint to fire speed increases here. And then we do have in the proficiency slot, we do have frenzy here for the health regeneration after we do get kills. But again, tight grip is a very good option as well. And then we have the kit here, which is fully loaded here, giving us the most amount of ammo to start off with. And that's it, guys. These are our top 10 best class setups in the game right now. All of these weapons are absolutely fantastic. If you think I did miss something in this list, or you think that I missed out on your favorite weapon, make sure you do leave a comment letting me know what it is, and we might make a separate video on its own. Again, thank you very much for watching this one. I do massively appreciate it, of course. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you've not already done so, because it really does mean an awful lot to me, and hitting 6,000 subscribers would be an absolutely fantastic milestone to hit. So again, thank you very much for watching, as I said, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!